All right, guys, we're back here at Paul's. Car is on the lift. We're going to talk about it. Buckle up, put it in gear. Let's get the show on the road. All right, we're here at Paul's. Car is on the lift. Paul is right here, not on the lift. Before we get into the car, I have something I want to ask you, Paul. Get over here.
Yep.
Saw these when I was walking in, and I just want to bring attention to these huge shocks. They cannot be for the Z.
Yeah, look how big they are. See how big?
Camera tricks.
They're yeah, right. It's like when you hold a bass up. Look how big this bass is. So no, they go on the Mini. They are KYB gas adjusts.
That is the tiniest thing I've ever seen.
This is smaller than the shock on my Z50 little motorcycle.
I think my lawnmower has a bigger shock.
They got a lot of pressure though.
Yeah, see that?
Yeah, they're pretty stiff shocks. We've had these on other cars, including a Z. I've had the inserts of these gas adjusts, and yeah, good shock.
Nice.
They go with the car, so.
Yes, the car is on bringatrailer.com. Is that right?
Yes.
What if people are watching this and it hadn't sold yet? How can they find it? What do they need to search for?
Just go on Bring a Trailer and type in Mini Mark III.
Mini Mark III.
Vintage Mini, or Classic Mini. I'm sorry, Classic Mini Mark III.
This is a beautiful car. I am 6'2", 6'3"-ish. At the time that I sat in this car, I was about 265 pounds, and I fit perfectly. Now I've lost a little weight. I would fit better. But if you're 6'5", 6'6", you could probably still fit in this car.
Yeah, it's basically bigger on the inside.
There, you get in it, and you look around, how is it bigger in here? This
right
comes
now
with it as well.
Yeah, it's the wind-up key.
Little wind-up key with an extra trunk that it fits right in there, and it actually spins as it's going down the road.
And it's pretty cool. It's got a bigger gas tank from a later car. And the floor cover was also custom made, covers the spare tire and the battery.
Nice.
Makes a nice flat floor.
It is really a nice car. Built by the same guy that built the Spitfire?
No, he owned the Spitfire for a while. He built, let's see, I bought the Lotus from there, the Lotus Europa.
Right. So when is this auction over?
This coming Saturday in 5.5 days now.
5.5 days from now. So if you're watching this, get on there. You might be able to catch the end of that auction. Airplane parts?
Still here, yes. They're done, but he hasn't picked them up yet, so no big deal.
No big. What part is this on the airplane? I see the dashboard.
Yeah, this is the instrument panel, and then this would be, okay, so if you reached up while you're sitting in the left seat or the front seats, you would grab this bar. This goes right, the wings actually connect onto that piece there.
But we are here for the Z. To the untrained eye, it looks like you took a few steps back, honestly. The dashboard is sitting over here. Last week it was in the car.
Yeah, it was mocked up. So we figured out what fit and didn't fit, or it all fits. What we needed to put in under it and why, where things needed to go.
Yeah, but you took it out. Easier to do some of the work when it's out.
Yeah, the pedal box, well, I cleaned the shop, so everything's all in a pile right now. But the pedal box is over there. That goes in, and also having the dashboard out, the heater can come back out, and the insulation pads can go onto the Firewall.
Gotcha. Like I said, to the untrained eye, it looks like you took a few steps back, but there's a lot more done in the interior this week. Still, it still baffles my mind that so much tedious work had to be done on the assembly line compared to today's vehicles.
Yeah, and if you, right, yeah, because now they just snap plastic panels.
Everything just gets covered up with a piece of plastic.
No, they actually upholstered these cars. But if you think about it, it took me, at least an hour to put this one piece on. It's not quite finished, almost there. But anyway, on an assembly line, The guy that did that would have known exactly where to place it, where to put the glue.
Right.
So he basically would have had it on a table going, shh, 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 shh,
And it
put the glue on and reached in the car, stuck it, smashed it, flattened it, out.
could have been his 100th one of the day that he's done.
Yeah. They were just rolling them out.
Here's that nice rack he made out of pallet wood here. Anything you're going to do with it? Are you taking it apart?
Well, I'm going to take the straight pieces of 2x4. There are a few pieces that are straight, and cut those up. And actually, since you asked, I'm going to put them behind the album rack that I made. And they'll keep the albums from going all the way through the shelf, and they'll stick out a little bit.
Gotcha.
So I needed some 2x4 anyway, and these are clean and dry.
So what you should do actually is take measurements of this and post it on the 240 pages, so people that might need to make one have the measurements for this.
Yep, here, a sketchy rack.
Right. There you go. You can make one out of your own pallets.
Right.
I did see earlier, before you got here, I was looking around, and there are headlights now.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Look at that.
It's so far away from the interior that I forgot I did that. But yeah, throughout the week I rebuilt the headlight buckets and got the headlights installed. Okay, so the wiring, when I unplugged the plugs from the headlight itself, part of the plug fell out in my hand. I was like, oh, I guess I got to change that. So had to change the little 3-pin plug. Which meant that I had to solder that in, and then this is all heat shrink that I, put back over the harness. So everything's clean, replaced. Those are ready to plug in.
Nice. And Sylvania, is this the style of headlight that would have been in there, this style?
Originally, it would have had a sealed beam Kyoto or Koito. I don't know how it's pronounced exactly, but they all came with the Japanese brand headlights, and these are upgrades. This is a halogen bulb inside of a lens. If the sealed beam that was on this car would have gotten chipped, just like a house bulb, it would instantly have blown because it was just a filament inside of a vacuum. These bulbs can actually get a chip, and the bulb's still okay because it's its own enclosure.
How far up does the undercoating go? I think we talked about goes in the tunnel. None of it comes in front of the firewall, right?
No. The roughness, if you can see it in the camera, I'm not sure, but there's a line of rough that's going to get painted black from their back. Probably better than the factory did it. They more than likely just sprayed it in there and let it go wild.
So actually, you can put the front suspension cradle in without messing with your undercoating.
Yeah.
You put this in, then spray it, is what I'm getting.
Oh yeah, this can all be built.
Here we are in the car. You can see why the dashboard came out. That's everything that goes behind it, or is there more? There's a pedal box that goes here, is that right?
Pedal box mounts from here, these holes, to this bracket, and the pedals swing down here in this area.
And on this side, what goes here? You got glove compartment that takes up most of this?
The dashboard comes out so far that literally this is behind the dashboard. So all of this is empty space. So the glove compartment really just fits in that empty opening in front and behind and on top of the fan.
See, these cars do have a lot of footroom.
Yes, very long footwell.
Right. With so much room under that hood, after the engine is still in, there's still a lot of room in that under the hood. And so much room in here, it seems like you probably sitting over the rear axle very close to.
The seat comes back, comes up, so it's about right here. You're on the front of the rear wheel.
Wow. And the headliner is in. And I didn't know until I got here, but the headliner and the A-pillar is different material.
Yeah.
They're put on separate.
This piece here is a real pain to put in. The headliner was also a pain, but I had help, and we got it in dead on perfect. It's beautiful. And you can hear the deadness of the roof now.
So much better.
And so then this piece is a curved section of vinyl that ends up having to be glued here. And you see how I have it indented right here? That's because the windshield gasket is going to have to come out around and tuck into this groove.
Right.
Up here, it tucks, and then it gets glued around the door.
That's another
molding.
thing with old cars, muscle cars, this car. If you rip that part of your interior, to change that part, you've got to do it right.
Yeah.
You've got to take the windshield out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some
it's
old
literally
muscle cars, the headliner can't go in with the windshield in because the way it
probably a
wraps around
lot
the
of
front.
them with those stretched bow type headliners.
Right.
They almost all go under the windshield. This is actually the material that goes under all the vinyl that's around the A-pillar and the header panel. This stuff is really squishy and smushy, so you can put the vinyl over it and it gives it that tufted look like we just saw in the car.
Right. So this part actually isn't seen. This is covered by
The vinyl. Yeah, it goes over the top of it and gives it a nice, rounds off the edges. If you put this over something like I don't have anything but a sheet metal or something, you can do it like this. And then when you cover it with vinyl, it gives you a nice rounded edge.
Right. Do you have a little small piece of headliner material?
No, the headliner came as one piece.
Really?
It literally was.
And was the size it needed to be?
You buy it from Motorsport Auto, or Z-Car Depot probably has the same one. But yeah, it's one piece. You literally, what we did was centered it in the car, put a piece of tape over it, cut the tape. When we put the glue on, you line the tapes up, touch the middle, and then start spreading it outward. And all around the edges gets tucked with one of these right here. So you just shove this in around the perimeter and tuck that. Also note, it wasn't glued all the way to the edge. I left about 3 or 4 inches around the entire perimeter so that I could do this with it and then tuck it into the body.
More on the interior. What do you call those covers in the back? Where the strut towers, I guess you'd say?
Yep, strut towers.
And this is an original piece that goes under the vinyl, right?
Yep, this is literally the part from this car. What it was it's a filler panel that keeps the vinyl supported like this. Whereas if it's not there, you have just an open hole that the vinyl will be soft and smushy in. So originally these were the panels that went there, and they are just done.
Right.
They're only 53 years old.
Right.
So
and even though that it can't be seen once it's installed, you still
completely invisible.
You need some structure there.
Yeah.
So you made another.
I made an invisible piece you'll never see again. I'm working on the interior right now and trying to get these pieces in. The vinyl that goes on top of these shock towers. Originally there was a cardboard, this type of, look at this mess. It's all broken and bent up. So there was a piece up here also. So I'm using this ABS type material that is very bendable with heat to reconstruct these in something that's weatherproof and stronger and just better. So made those for the top and took this and used it as a pattern and made this. A brand new, nice, weatherproof piece that will fit right there. I'm using the floor as my work table because, well, 2 reasons. One, I don't have an empty table. And secondly, I don't want to cut my table up. And I have to use this razor knife to initially cut the pieces. So this is a better pattern than that other piece was. And what I do is I first trace it onto the board. Let's use this side because it's a much straighter edge. There we go. Going to trace it out. My assistant has arrived. Thank you, Felicia. Thank you. Probably can't see it in the video, but the piece is traced out onto the plastic here. And what I'll do is, since those edges are all janky, as you can see, going to use this knife to go from the corner to the corner, and that will give me a nice straight line that I can cut to. Okay, now I have it down to a much smaller piece that I can work with. I don't know if you can see my tracing lines on there. All right, there we go. Have a nice looking little, looks like a spaceship or airplane, whatever. So now we're gonna go form it. I said ABS earlier. I don't think this is ABS. I actually don't, I forgot what the material is. But people use it a lot for cosplay, costumes, things like that, because it's very malleable after you heat it up. Here's how I came up with doing it. Sort of make a break with this stirring stick. And we heat it. Bend it and hold it just for a little while until it cools, and there we go. We have an idea. I'm going to straighten this little edge out in a second, but I just wanted to get the main bend, and it ended up right on my line, so that should be just about perfect. There we go. Nice piece. Pretty nice. If I can get it past all these wires here and such. So that gets glued right there. And then you have a nice level. You know what? I'm actually probably going to open it up a little bit so it transitions to this angle better.
Right.
But when you're done, you have this nice,
very nice
supportive piece. Up here also, the cars came with a hole right here. So I cut out a matching copy of the original piece, bevel the edges, and there we go.
Now I've seen actually, since I've started doing this series, I've kind of been watching some 240 Facebook pages, and I've seen people actually put speakers up here, very small speakers, but on top.
Oh, here, in this, like a tweeter?
Yeah.
If you really wanted to put a small speaker, you could fit something with a shallow enough magnet, you know?
I see the hood, the hatch over here. Do you have any parts you need for the outside, like a hood, the windshield cowl, or a valance, or do you have all your outside parts?
Missing one exterior piece, and it's the front lower valance where the turn signals mount. I have the center piece. I need the two cheek pieces, they're called, where the actual turn signals mount.
Now, is that because you don't have them, period, or they're beyond it? And
I don't have them.
You don't have them?
Nope, the car came without them because, well, it came with this. It's right here. It had this little spoiler. It's
not an aftermarket.
It's not even a spoiler, really. It's just this crossbar. I'm halfway tempted to fix the thing up and throw it on there because I have nothing else right now. I could buy them, but I'm sick of buying stuff.
Do we have any more few $100 boxes or no?
Tomorrow, I'm actually going by a lot of parts. I'm going to have two seats, two matching seats, correct, not rusty.
Correct, not with the wheel?
With the wheel, yes.
Okay.
I'll have two correct seats. These all came from one of Fred's old cars. Just boxes of random parts that I have no idea what's in them. I'm literally going, give the guy an amount of money and just taking the entire lot. So that's kind of exciting. I don't know what's in it, but I know there's two seats in it, and I want those no matter what.
Now, at what point is it time to paint this hood, paint this hatch, paint that cowl, get the exterior completed?
The hatch can actually go on the car right now. I could not like it looks, but you know, I could install it if it was painted with a spoiler on it, because it'll just stay up and I can work on the interior. Obviously can't mount the hood for the engine, but I could paint these at any time between now and engine time, basically. So to get to the meat of it, I don't need to paint them at any time soon. I kind of want to, but I don't need them yet.
Now, motorcycle builders, I've seen, I've watched, you know, the whole Discovery Channel bike build off. They don't put the gas tank on the bike until it is completely done, because they don't want to see the finished product before it's time to see the finished product. Do you have that kind of mentality?
No, I really would. I would mock it up and make it look like a car and disassemble it if I had to. On a motorcycle, they don't really have to fit that piece. You know, they've already fitted it in raw. So I guess I see why they don't want to put the finished tank on the unfinished bike. But in this case, I would have installed any piece at any time if you can leave it. I don't know if I guess. I mean, I don't know why I'd put something on and take it back off. But I guess if you can leave it on, yeah, install it.
Now, in the last episode, he talked about getting the doors all built and ready to go, and you're kind of chomping at the bit to do that. How much longer before that's done?
Other things, well, okay. I didn't want to build the doors while it was on this because I didn't know what its weight limit was. I did not have that thing tested or rated by any agencies, so I had no idea what it was going to hold. Didn't want to force it, or it was getting hard to push also. But now that it's on the lift, I can actually go ahead and put all the guts in the doors, windows, and everything, because that's all heavy.
By the time you're watching this, it will have been Christmas. Today is Sunday, the 22nd.
Yep.
Christmas is this week. Not sure how much work will get done on the car, but knowing Paul, car is more important than Christmas.
I do have obligations, but yeah.
So next week, we're going to come and video again. What can we expect?
Tomorrow night, I would actually like to finish the other side of this back piece right here. That would allow me to start building out the window surrounds, the dog leg, that kind of thing that can actually just go in and stay.
Right.
So I want to do a lot of interior stuff. Oh, and the other side of this.
The passenger side, yeah.
That tedious thing. That's got to be done. And get all that done. Something I'd like to try to figure out is how hard it is to put the dashboard in if the windshield's already installed, because right now it would be a piece of cake to put the windshield in. It's just sitting there wide open.
Right.
So I'd rather wait on the dashboard if it's okay to put the windshield in first.
Some of you guys have mentioned how much knowledge Paul has about the Z car, and yes, he does. And yes, he probably wrote part of this book, but he is kind of following a book. Let's show you.
Oh, sorry, I was just over here learning some things. So this is How to Restore Your Datsun Z Car by Wick Humble. I knew that, and I couldn't remember it. But anyway, this book, it is not only parts diagrams, and I mean, you want to know how your door goes together. This guy copied all the service manual pages, but also you get into, I'll go back a little bit. That was his daughter putting on a hubcap. Okay, so here we go. So this is him installing the rear panel, the gray taillight panels. He shows a diagram of how it's made, where the pieces go, but then also step by step install, down the line. Great book, great resource. If you're going to restore a Z, get you one of these.
It looks pretty new.
This one probably is, I'd guess.
Have you had this since you started this car?
No, yes, I've had it since I started this car. But since building a car like this, I haven't gotten greasy much yet. It's all pretty much clean stuff. So no, the book is pretty clean, but it's still available. I bought it new, I think either Amazon or one of the online places.
Very nice and very good source, because nobody knows how to do this stuff anymore.
Yeah, some of this stuff is on YouTube. You can find out. I've learned some things from YouTube, but I'm the kind of person that would rather just walk over to this book and see how Wick Humble put it together, and it's worked for me literally today.
What year was the book made in?
Let's see. 1990 was when it was built, published.
You think Wick is still with us?
Should look him up.
Find him on Facebook.
See if old Wick wants to come and install some parts with me.
Is the cat going to throw up?
No.
That's usually the throw up position.
No, she's just in a fur ball.
This episode is interior heavy because a lot of work has been done on the interior. But what's the next step? Do you plan on finishing the interior before you move on to the next?
I'm going to stick to the interior. I'm going to stick to getting all the inside finished and get it door slamming, get the windows in, windshield or not. That even the seats. I'll probably do the seats, to tell you the truth. Here's the reason. I'm really trying to procrastinate working on the suspension. I don't want to. So it's just going to be a huge pain. I have to paint all the parts and everything. I like doing interior stuff. It's tedious. It's very nerve-wracking. Like, you get one shot at a lot of these pieces. You cut it too deep, done. You got to buy a new part, a new vinyl. But I do want to finish it. I want to finish the interior and then start on suspension later. Next. What I'd like to do is get it rolling, get it to be a rolling chassis with a fully done interior, basically a completed car. And let's just put the engine and drivetrain in last. The differential will be in, but drive shaft, transmission.
That's all we're going to do for this week. Like I said, very interior heavy episode, which is fine by me. But like I said earlier, when you walk up to the car, to the untrained eye, looks like nothing's been done all week. But when you start looking at every little piece in there, that's why I said last episode that 90% of the work is done at the last 10% of the restoration. We got to this point very quickly from a car sitting on a dolly that needed paint. Now it's going to take a little bit more time to show more progress. But once that progress is made, it's almost a car. And what he's going to do when it's finished is just drive it.